Cradle, The Rise of the Chosen, Chapter 19, Part 1. Josh stood there still for a few moments before Takuma couldn't wait anymore. Nijkul, Mani Waniti, Josh. What are we waiting for, Josh? Takuma asked. Josh held up a finger and his eyes went bright again. This went on for a few moments and even Gianoa was at a loss. There was a short snapping, sizzling sound and Josh was back. Jishnoti, Hala Ulmol, Swolti. Come, we are going to the harbor, Josh demanded. Takuma was glad to be doing something even though he wasn't quite sure of what he would be doing. Jinjiu, Tini Wan. I know you want to know what's going on, Josh started. Him, Kuli, him Moli. I saw where the thing was. Haji where to? The thing that arrived. It's gonna chew up some time going out to sea, but we'll be back at the rendezvous in time, Josh said. Bioni, Bonta, just in time. They had all been walking quickly through the harbor town and back toward the waterfront. Takuma guessed they'd rent a boat, but he assumed no one here had the local currency. And that was it. Takuma wasn't worried because his confidence in Josh was mightier than his silent anxiety. He was sure Gianoa trusted him as well, but as a default, she was a more critical person, loving but critical. Takuma noticed he was hungry as the walk to the harbor shipyard, he assumed, kept seeming longer by the minute. He was really in the mood for something sweet and thought he'd conjure up a filut donut. Lishnu, Jikaanti. Don't do it now, Jess said stiffly. Men Joni, Hapa, Hali. Demons might smell it. Takuma understood and tried to focus on something else. As they all walked up the boardwalk, it was plain to see that there weren't many seacraft at the docks. Most were empty spaces of the black and glistening water, and the hubs looked unmanned. They continued walking and saw a singular mid-sized vessel. It was white with baby blue stripes and a light array on top of a metalwork spanner. Oli Miel. Looks nice, said Takuma. Tinji? What? Gino asked. Fidoni. Wam. That old thing? Wentu. Manarjiri. It will get the job done, Josh answered. Are you going to conjure up some of their money? Takuma asked. Josh thought for a moment and then gave Takuma a look of indication. Halpa niti po niji. The demons will smell that too, Josh answered. Donji, come. The trio let Josh lead them to the window of the Bolt rental office, and the elderly man tapped the cigar ash onto the boardwalk from inside, and he gave them all a doubtful smirk. Huenti, Senji. We need that boat, Josh said. For Noli, Logi, 500, flat rate, the man said. Tien Mon, Orojili, Hinu, when all to. You let me send the money here tomorrow, make it 1,000, Josh offered. Ko. No, the renter said. We're good for it, trust me, my friend, Josh batted back. Ma'ali oye ko. I already said no. Gianoa cursed under her breath and walked up to the window and was ready to pull something from her black cloak. Josh put his hand on her wrist and stopped her from exposing what she was trying to. Lenji, Koljani, listen, my man. Deoni, Iole, Wantijuyo. I'll make it 2,500. Etu, Toli, Fi. At the crack of dawn tomorrow, Josh offered again. Ko, no. Mitu, Niti, Ho Jami, Mul. Oh, come on, you freaking jerk, Takuma burst out, and to his surprise, Josh didn't object. Josh stood there calmly, just thinking for a moment. Soni, Wantomi. My man, 3,000. Itu, Toli, Fi, at the crack of dawn tomorrow. They were all riding out to sea for about 20 minutes before Josh slowed the seacraft down. It was a relatively smooth ride and wasn't too cold as Takuma would assume from the temperature in the harbor city. Then Josh stopped the boat and hurriedly joined the couple. Kintu Ha'al, out here. Swotit Pieti. I can use the spirit a little, Josh said. He touched Gianoa on the head and then Takuma. Zien the water barriers, Josh informed. Takuma figured they'd be going in the water. He didn't know why, but it felt inevitable. Moonichi, Koal Halmal. You okay with the water? Takuma asked Gianoa. She nodded and visibly steadied her breathing. Mish Ulioli. You sure? Bonit. Very sure, she said. They all sat on the edge of the boat. It had no ladder, so they could climb down into the water. Josh nodded at them after they were all calm, and they plunged into the water. Nieto, hiokili, fiolo. Just let me take you to the bottom, Josh spoke in Takuma's mind, and he knew Gianoa heard it too because even though the water was very dark, his Zitoroyama let him see her nodding. And they descended steadily for about 4 minutes, and then Takuma saw it. It was a shimmering orb that emitted heat even down here. It was a perfect sphere, and looked to be made out of metallic glass or the other way around. Takuma had never quite seen something like it before. It lit the surrounding area with a silvery light, but looking at the actual sphere, it emitted whites and oranges and maybe a little violet. Takuma wasn't sure, but this object had a slightly repulsive aura, and the way Gianoa was looking at it, he was sure she felt it too. Soon, Josh grabbed them both by the shoulder, and they rose up to the surface in a matter of tens of seconds. Josh hesitated before rising the 7 feet in the air to make it to the banister to climb on the deck, but he did so smoothly and naturally. Hinjinjin noti iri. You can't talk about it now, Josh said. Ito dien hulami. We must go now. Josh piloted back to shore, lost in his thoughts, apparently while Takuma and Gianoa ate what was in the mini fridge in the cabin under the deck. It was a pleasant buttery cracker pack and canned tomato-like vegetable and a sort of oil that also tasted considerably buttery. It was safe to assume that decadent flavors went well with the life in the generous. At the shore, Josh returned the keys to the renter and had to give a few parting assurances before the man remained quiet.